the casket lowered into the earth like a secret being buried forever. And that's when I first saw him. Standing alone under the gray November sky, his shoulders hunched against the wind that whipped through the cemetery like it had a grudge. "She's gone," he whispered to no one, but his voice cracked loud enough to slice through the murmurs of the mourners. And I, the kid in the ill-fitting black vest just trying to hand out programs without dropping them, felt it hit me like a gut punch. In that moment, as rain started to spit from the clouds, I knew this funeral wasn't just another gig. It was the start of something that would unravel us both. I'm Adam, 22, a broke college junior scraping by on tips from part-time funeral home shifts in the sleepy corner of upstate New York. Elmwood was the kind of town where everyone knew your business before you did. Main Street diners dishing gossip over pie, Friday night lights at the high school field still echoing in the bars. I'd taken the assistant job because it paid better than flipping burgers, and honestly, the quiet suited me. No drama, no expectations. Just show up, look somber, and fade into the background. But Grandma Ellis's service? That one clawed its way under my skin from the jump. Her family had rented the whole chapel. Polished pews, stained glass filtering the weak afternoon light like fractured memories. I was stationed by the door, folding bulletins with her obituary. Eleanor Ellis, 82, beloved matriarch, survived by son Harold, daughter-in-law Margaret, and grandson Ian. The name stuck because the photo showed a kid, maybe 12, with that same mop of chestnut hair and eyes like storm clouds, grinning beside a woman who looked like she'd baked the world's best apple pie while solving world peace. By the time the procession hit the graveside, the crowd had thinned to family core, and there he was, Ian, all grown up, 24 if I had to guess, in a wool overcoat that hung loose on his frame like he'd lost weight worrying. He didn't cry during the eulogy. His dad, Harold, did that, voice booming through a handkerchief about Mom's unyielding faith in family first. But Ian, he just stared at the coffin, fists balled in his pockets, like he was holding back a tidal wave. When the first shovelful of dirt hit wood, that's when he broke. Not a sob, but a gasp, raw and animal, and the mourners shifted uncomfortably, pretending not to notice. I did, though. From my spot by the tent, handing out carnations, our eyes locked for a split second. His wide with something feral, mine probably just curious, and it was like static electricity in the air, the kind that raises every hair on your arm. Afterward, as folks milled toward their cars, umbrellas blooming like black flowers, he lingered. I was packing folding chairs when he approached, hands still jammed deep in his pockets. "You work here." His voice was gravelly, edged with that upstate accent. Flat vowels, no frills. "Yeah," I said, stacking metal legs with a clang that echoed too loud. "Adam. Sorry for your loss." He nodded, gaze drifting to the fresh mound of earth. "Ian, she was everything." A pause. Then, softer. "You ever lose someone who feels like half your soul got yanked out?" I swallowed. My own mom had dipped when I was 10. Overdosed on pills in a motel off I-90, chasing dreams that never materialized. Dad raised me solo, or tried to, until the mill laid him off and the bottle took over. "Once or twice," I admitted. "Feels like the world's tilted wrong." He looked at me then, really looked, and something shifted. Not pity, connection, maybe. "Thanks for this." He gestured vaguely at the setup. "Makes it less like a bad dream." We talked for 10 minutes while rain pattered on the tent roof. About Elmwood's endless winters. How Grandma Ellis had canned peaches that could make you believe in heaven. He was a graphic designer in Syracuse, back for the week, crashing at the family home on Maple Lane. I mentioned my poli-sci major, the endless papers on constitutional law that read like bedtime stories for insomniacs. It was easy, that talk, like we'd skipped the awkward intros. When his mom called him to the car, he hesitated, scribbling his number on a damp napkin. "If you want to grab coffee, tell war stories or whatever." I pocketed it, heart thudding like I'd run a mile. "Yeah, I'd like that." That night, back in my cramped dorm off campus, I stared at the ceiling fan whirring lazy circles, the napkin crumpled on my nightstand. Ian Ellis, straight-laced family man? Or something else? I'd clocked the way his eyes lingered, the brush of his fingers when he handed over the napkin. In a town like Elmwood, where the rainbow flag flew once a year at the county fair and got taken down before dusk, guys like me learned to read signals like survival code. I dated a few clandestine hookups in Albany bars, a summer fling with a barista who ghosted when his ex came back. But Ian? He felt dangerous. Real. The coffee meetup happened 2 days later, at the Daily Grind on Elm Street, where the air smelled of burnt beans and regret. He was early, nursing a black drip, sketchpad open to half-formed logos, bold lines, urban edges that screamed city escape. Couldn't sleep, he said by way of hello, sliding a mug my way. Figured caffeine's cheaper than therapy. We talked for hours. About Grandma's quirks. How she'd hidden flasks of bourbon in her Bible during Prohibition stories. Or the time she drove cross-country in a '72 Plymouth, scattering wildflower seeds along Route 66 like confetti for the soul. Ian's voice softened there, laced with loss. His parents, Harold the stern accountant, Margaret the PDA enforcer, had always pushed the narrative. Family legacy, straight arrow path. Ian, the only child, was the golden thread. But beneath it, cracks. She saw me, he confessed over refills, stirring sugar he didn't need. The real me, not the version they scripted. I leaned in, pulse quickening. What version's that? He met my eyes, unflinching. The one that doesn't fit their mold. It was the closest he'd come to saying it outright, and in that muggy booth with Patsy Cline crooning from the jukebox, I felt the pull like gravity shifting toward him. We walked out into a crisp dusk, leaves crunching underfoot, and when our shoulders brushed, neither pulled away. By the time we reached his rental car, the air hummed with unspoken. Dinner tomorrow? He asked, keys jingling like a dare. Only if you promise no funeral talk. Deal. His smile cracked the clouds in his eyes. That dinner was Italian at Rossi's, candlelight flickering on checkered tablecloths, garlic bread steaming between us. We laughed about Elmwood legends, the ghost of the old mill, the annual pie-eating contest where Uncle Ray once choked on cherry-filling mid-bite. But under the banter, layers peeled. Ian admitted the pressure. His folks' not-so-subtle hints about settling down with Emily from high school, the family realtor whose laugh grated like sandpaper. It's like they're building my life in a brochure, he said, twirling spaghetti. And I'm the smiling idiot on the cover. I shared my own ghosts. Mom's absence carving hollows, Dad's slow fade into bar stools. Makes you wonder if love's just a story we tell to keep the dark out. He reached across, thumb brushing my knuckles. Electric. Maybe it's not a story. Maybe it's this. We kissed in the parking lot, hesitant at first. His lips tentative, tasting of Chianti. Then fierce, hands fisting coats against the chill. It was messy, urgent, the kind of kiss that rewrites your map. When we broke, foreheads pressed, he whispered, I've never, not like this. Me neither, I lied, because with him it felt like the first time. The week blurred into stolen moments. Mornings at his grandma's empty house, sifting through photo albums in the sun-dappled attic, fingers tracing yellowed edges, while our legs tangled on the floorboards. Afternoons driving back roads, windows down, Bruce Springsteen blasting Thunder Road, as Elmwood's fields rolled by in golden decay. Nights in my dorm when his folks thought he was visiting old friends. Bodies close but boundaries firm, no rushing, just the slow burn of discovery. He'd sketch me by lamplight, pencil whispering over paper, capturing the curve of my jaw, the scar above my eyebrow from a childhood bike wreck. You're beautiful, he'd murmur, and I'd believe him, because in his gaze, I was. But shadows crept. His phone buzzed constantly. Texts from Margaret. When are you coming home? Emily's asking about you. Harold's voicemails, gruff. Son, we need to talk legacy. Ian deflected, but tension coiled in his shoulders. A spring wound tight. The will reading was set for Friday, in the back office of Whitaker and Sons, the town's only law firm, a brick relic squeezed between the hardware store and the library. Ian invited me as moral support, claiming Grandma would have liked my steady hand. I agreed, nerves jangling, because by then we were in deep whispers of futures, dreams of Syracuse apartments with skyline views. The office smelled of old books and lemon polish, fluorescent hum overhead. Around the table, Harold in his starched shirt, Margaret with pearls clutched like rosaries, Aunt Lydia dabbing eyes with a lace hanky, and Ian, beside me, thigh pressed to mine under the table. A secret anchor. Mr. Whitaker, silver-haired and drawling, cleared his throat. Eleanor was particular. Let's begin. Bequests ticked off. The house to Harold, jewelry to Margaret, a trust for Lydia's artistic pursuits. Then a pause. To Adam Riley, the young man who assisted at her final service and showed such kindness in her last days. My grandmother's locket, the one with the hidden compartment, and $20,000 from my personal savings, to chase your dreams without apology. The room froze. My name, hanging in the air like smoke. Ian's hand went slack under the table. Harold's face purpled. What the hell? Who is this Adam? I stammered, heat flooding my cheeks. I just helped with the funeral. She chatted with me after a service once, weeks ago. Said I reminded her of her brother, lost young. Margaret's eyes narrowed, venomous. Chatted? Or schemed? Mom was sharp as a tack, senile, my foot. This reeks. Ian shifted, voice low. Mom, it's fine. Grandma knew what she was doing. But the dam cracked. Aunt Lydia gasped. 20,000? To a stranger. Harold slammed the table. This is a slap in the face. Family first. That's what she always said. Mr. Whitaker raised a hand, but the chaos swelled. I sat there, the locket heavy in my palm, silver, engraved with eternity's thread. Its weight a brand. Ian's gaze flickered to me, confusion warring with something darker. Doubt? Accusation? When the meeting dissolved into shouts, he stood abruptly. I need air. Outside. Rain lashed the windows, turning the world to watercolor smears. I followed, catching him by the alley dumpster, where Elmwood's grit met its gloss. Ian, wait. This isn't. Isn't what? He whirled, rain slicking his hair. You knew her? How? And you didn't say? I barely did. One conversation about books, life. She slipped me a note after, said to come by if I needed advice. I thought it was kindness, not this. His laugh was bitter, hollow. Kindness, right? While the rest of us got scraps. He paced, splashing puddles. Dad's furious, says it's a con, that you played on her loneliness. Mom's already calling Emily. Like this fixes everything. My chest caved. You believe them? He stopped, inches away, breath mingling in the downpour. I don't know what to believe, Adam. This changes everything. The house, the expectations, it's all tied up in her estate. And now you're in it like some plot twist I didn't see coming. The kiss that followed was fury, teeth and desperation, rain soaking us through. But when we pulled apart, his eyes were storms. I need time, he said, backing toward his car, to figure this out. He drove off, taillights blurring into the gray, leaving me drenched and alone, the locket burning against my skin like a curse. The days after the will reading stretched like taffy, sticky, endless, pulling me under. Elmwood turned hostile overnight. Whispers in the grocery line at Price Chopper. Margaret's glare from her minivan at the gas station. Dad called from his trailer in Buffalo. Voice thick with hangover. Heard about the windfall, kid. Don't let it change you. But it already had. I hoarded the check like contraband, depositing half into savings for tuition, the rest earmarked for a dream deferred. A semester abroad in D.C., interning at a think tank, chasing policy that might fix broken systems like the one that swallowed Mom. Ian ghosted at first. No texts, no calls. I replayed our last moments. The alley kiss, salt and rain. His I need time, echoing like a verdict. My shifts at the funeral home blurred. One scattering of ashes bleeding into the next. While nights found me in the dorm, scrolling his sketches on my phone, thumb hovering over send on unsent messages. Miss you. This isn't us. But pride or fear held me back. A week in, he surfaced. A knock at 2 a.m., my roommate out cold from finals prep. There he stood on the stoop, shadows under his eyes, duffel slung over shoulder. Can I crash? Syracuse is too loud right now. I stepped aside, heart hammering. The room felt smaller with him in it. Him shedding coat, sinking onto the bed like a man adrift. Talk to Dad, he said, staring at the ceiling. He hired a lawyer, contesting the bequest. Says it's undue influence. The words landed like bricks. Influence? I barely knew her. I know. He rubbed his face. But it's not about facts. It's control. The money's peanuts to them, but the principle? It's like she chose an outsider over blood. We lay side by side, clothes on, the space between us a minefield. His hand found mine in the dark, tentative. I'm sorry for doubting. This town's a pressure cooker. And us? We're the steam no one wants escaping. I turned to him, profiling the sharp line of his nose. Then let's blow the lid. Come with me to DC. We start fresh, no Elmwood, no expectations. He propped on elbow, moonlight slanting his features. And my family? The business dad wants me in Ellis Accounting, legacy lockstep. Screw the legacy if it chains you. My voice cracked. You're more than their poster boy, Ian. You're the guy who sketches sunsets like they're secrets, who kisses like the world's ending tomorrow. His laugh was soft, broken. Poet now, huh? But he leaned in, lips brushing mine. Gentle this time, a promise. We talked till dawn. Plans sketched on notebook margins, futures pieced from maybes. By sunrise, tangled in sheets, he whispered, "Okay, DC us." Relief flooded, sweet as spring thaw. The next days were feverish plotting. I cashed the check fully, wiring funds for a sublet in Foggy Bottom, 2-bedroom walk-up, metro access to the hill. Ian quit his gig notice, packing Grandma's house in stolen hours. Boxing china that clinked like regrets, donating suits Harold wouldn't miss. We met in hidden pockets. Lakeside picnics where loons called across water, his hand in mine under the blanket. Midnight drives to Watkins Glen, waterfalls roaring as we confessed fears, vulnerabilities spilling freer than the Cascades. But betrayal brewed. Margaret cornered me at the post office, stamps in hand like weapons. "Stay away from my son," she hissed, voice low venom. "Eleanor's little game ends here. We know your type, opportunist preying on the vulnerable." I gripped the counter, knuckles white. My type? Or yours? Blind to who he really is. Her slap was sharp, echoing in the fluorescent quiet. "He's confused. You'll ruin him." Bruise blooming on my cheek, I drove straight to Ian. He iced it in the kitchen, fury etching his jaw. "I'm telling them about us tonight." We did dinner at the family Victorian, pot roast cooling untouched. Harold at table head, Margaret beside, Emily inexplicably invited, her smile brittle as spun glass. Ian's fork clattered. "I love Adam." Silence thick as fog. Then explosion. Harold's, "What the hell does that mean?" Margaret's sobs, Emily's stunned retreat to the powder room. Ian laid it bare. The kisses, the plans, the way I'd mended something shattered in him. Grandma saw it, supported it in her way. That's why the will. Harold's face twisted, shock to rage. She knew? And tainted everything. He shoved back, chair scraping. "This is betrayal, son. From her. From you." Margaret clutched her pearls. "We raised you better. Therapy, Ian. We'll get you help." The words gutted him. I saw it, the flinch like a blade. "Help? For loving who I love." He stood, voice rising. "I'm done pretending." Chaos reigned. Shouts overlapping, plates rattling. I slipped out to the porch, rain starting again, drumming on the gingerbread trim. Ian followed minutes later, duffel in hand, his packed in haste. "They're calling a family meeting. With the pastor." His laugh was mirthless. "To save me." We drove through the night, headlights carving tunnels in the dark, Syracuse's glow fading rear view. By Pennsylvania line, exhaustion hit. We pulled into a roadside motel, neon vacancy, buzzing like a heartbeat. In the room, peeling wallpaper, bed sagging like old bones. We held each other, not lovers yet, but survivors. "We'll make it," he murmured into my hair. "You and me against the map." Dawn brought clarity, and a voicemail from Harold. "Come home, son, or you're cut off. No trust, no inheritance. Family's all you got." Ian deleted it, but the weight lingered, a shadow on our horizon. DC welcomed us with cherry blossoms late blooming, defiant against April chill. The sublet was a shoebox, exposed brick, fire escape views of the Potomac, but ours. I landed the internship, unpaid but prestigious, pounding pavement on K Street. Ian freelanced logos, his style catching eyes at startups hungry for edge. Evenings, we'd collapse on the futon, takeout containers as candle holders, trading stories. My policy rants, his design epiphanies. Love deepened, roots burrowing, lazy Sundays at Eastern Market, haggling for heirloom tomatoes. Twilight walks along the tidal basin, Jefferson Memorial glowing like a beacon. But Elmwood's tendrils reached. Letters arrived, certified, from Whitaker and Sons. The contest upheld, bequest reduced to $5,000 on moral turpitude grounds. I burned it in the sink, flames dancing blue. Then, the call. Aunt Lydia, voice trembling. Your father's had a stroke, Ian. Come home. He flew back alone, promising 2 days max. I paced the apartment, ghosts circling. Margaret's slap, Harold's ultimatum. When he returned, hollow-eyed, it was with news that cracked the foundation. Dad's stable, but they want reconciliation. On their terms. Therapy, Emily as Beard, till it passes. And you, my voice small. I told them no, but, he begged. Said I'm killing him. Guilt twisted him, visible in slumped posture. Sketches gone dark. Jagged lines, storm motifs. Our touches turned tentative, intimacy fraying at edges. It's not you, he'd say, pulling away. It's the pull. I understood blood's gravity, unyielding. But resentment simmered, unspoken. One night, after a hill happy hour where interns swapped conquest tales, I came home to find him on the fire escape, phone to ear. Yeah, Mom, I'll think about it. The door slammed behind me, louder than intended. Think about what? Going back. He hung up, face ashen. Just talking, keeping peace. Peace? Or chains? Words tumbled, hot. That money was her gift, to me, to us. And now it's poison. Turning you against. Against what? My dying father. He stood, voice thunder. You think this is easy? Dropping everything for some fairy tale escape. The slur landed like shrapnel. I recoiled. Fairy tale? This is real, Ian. Or have you forgotten? He deflated, reaching. Adam? You. But I was out the door, stairs clattering underfoot, into DC's humid night. Streets blurred, DuPont circles bustle, revelers spilling from bars, until I collapsed on a bench by the Lincoln Memorial, Lincoln's gaze stern above. Hours passed, phone silent. Dawn crept, pink on the reflecting pool. When tires crunched, Ian's borrowed Civic, hazards flashing. He slid beside me, coffee steaming in holders. I panicked, called Emily. Not for that, just to vent. Old habit. Betrayal bloomed. Acid. Her? After everything. Wrong. Stupid. His hand on my knee, pleading. You're my everything. But Dad, the stroke showed me. Time's not infinite. We sat, silence weaving. What now? I whispered. Therapy for me. Real kind, not conversion crap. And boundaries with them. Visits, not surrender. Relief, tentative. And us. Us forever. His kiss sealed it, salt-tanged, under Lincoln's watchful eye. Summer sweltered, testing resolve. Harold rallied, grudging calls evolving to stilted check-ins. Margaret thawed fractionally, sending care packages, jerky, not judgments. Ian's designs bloomed, landing a contract with a queer advocacy nonprofit. Irony not lost. My internship morphed to full-time aid, drafting bills on housing equity. Mom's ghost, channeled. Yet climax loomed, inevitable as thunderheads. Fall quarter, Ian's birthday. We planned quiet, Smithsonian, then home for cake. But en route, his phone rang. Whitaker. The final ruling. Grandma's codicil. Contingent on living true. Full amount restored, plus letter. We read it in the car, parked by the mall. Eleanor's script, looping, to Adam, the boy with fire in his eyes. Use this to build, not break. To Ian, my heart. Love fiercely, as I did your grandfather, against all winds. Blood is ink, but choice writes the story. Tears blurred ink. She knew, Ian breathed, about us. Back home, celebration turned confessional. Over wine, he admitted. I almost went back, after the call with Emily. Thought it'd fix Dad. Fix me. The admission stung, fresh wound. Why tell me now? Because hiding kills. And you deserve truth. Truth's blade cut deep, trust fracturing. That night, sleep evaded. By morning, I packed a bag. Space, I said at the door. To breathe. He nodded, devastation raw. Don't disappear. DC streets swallowed me. Hostels, then a couch surf with a policy professor days bled. Work, walks, wondering if love survived betrayal's echo. Ian's texts. Miss your laugh. Therapy's hard. But I'm in it. Photos. His sketches lighter now, horizons wide. 3 weeks in, Elmwood called, Harold, voice frail. Come for Thanksgiving. Both of you. Please. I flew with Ian, tension thick as turkey gravy. The Victorian loomed, porch light welcoming. Inside. Table set, aromas of sage and regret. Margaret hugged stiffly. Lydia chattered neutral. Harold, cane in hand, met my eyes. The will was fair. Mom had reasons. No apology but thaw. Dinner unfolded. Awkward grace, stories of Eleanor's rebellions. The vote she cast against family grain. The neighbor she sheltered during Nam protests. Ian's hand found mine under tablecloth, anchor. After, by the fire, Harold pulled Ian aside. Whispers then, son, I was wrong. About a lot. To me, gruff, take care of him, Adam. He's all I got left to fix. Outside, snow flurried first of season, blanketing Maple Lane. Ian and I walked, arms linked, breath clouds mingling. Human mess, he said, but ours. I squeezed his hand. Yeah, and Grandma's gift? It's not money. It's this choosing us, every damn day. Back in DC, winter hardened resolve. Betrayal scarred, but healed into stories, tattoos of survival. We married spring, small ceremony at the tidal basin. Cherry petals confetti, friends toasting with cider. Harold walked Ian, cane steady. Margaret pinned boutonnieres, eyes damp. No perfection but progress, human, flawed, American as apple pie with a twist. Years on, Elmwood visits blend. Holidays with tentative toasts. Ian's designs adorning family walls. The locket hangs by our bed, compartment empty now. Secrets spilled, loves claimed. Grandma's will? Changed everything, all right? Not by dollars, but by daring us to write our own ending, one heartbeat, one choice at a time.